So, now, David has a lot of questions. It's getting a little bit hot, so it doesn't matter, yeah? Makes us a bit tired, yeah, Windy, huh? Huh? Then throw some water in your face, yeah? And then walk, yeah? In the evening, in the morning, yeah? Or sleep, at 9 o'clock, and wake up at midnight. And then it is nice, yeah? But we are too lazy to wake up at midnight, huh? Ella? Yeah, sleep during the day if it is too hot, and practice during the night, yeah? It's much better, yeah, Joanne? Yeah. And it is very quiet. Yes, very quiet. And you will notice, if you meditate at around 2 o'clock, everything calms down. Before that, there's some energy moving around, but at 2 o'clock, everybody is sleeping. Very quiet, for about an hour, and then it starts again. Huh? So you miss all time. You miss the good times. Yeah, put some effort, and see the wonder of the citta, when it is completely calm. Yeah? Then we notice we don't need anything at that moment. Huh? And this is very important for us, to experience it and re-experience and experience it and experience it, so that it slowly sinks in, that actually all what we need is to shut down the mind engine that constantly thinks and memorizes. Yeah?
I start to notice that after some time here it's very calm, but when I go out, like the trip to Lai, come back, it's like, whoa.
Yes.
And it takes.
And that will take a lot of time, yeah, until you find some calmness in your heart. And while you go out, keep your senses shut down. That is very important. And that is very difficult, yeah? When you go out, you see this and you see that, and memories come in and memories come in. Then you smell this and, other memories come in, yeah? So if you keep your sense doors shut, and that is actually, what the Lord Buddha advises us, yeah? Keeping our sense doors shut. And because it is very difficult in the world, Joanne, that's why he advised us to go to a monastery, or even there it is too much, then go alone into a forest. Yeah.
See, I thought I already somewhat blocked the senses, but it's still so strong.
Yeah.
If we block it 100%, how can we interact with others?
How can you interact with others?
Yes. I thought I really need to open up and be able to talk to like the salespersons or...
Yes. If you stay all the time with your heart, yeah, then there's a sense contact that is not important, and then there's an interaction that needs to be done. And then you do the interaction, afterwards you return back to your heart. And that is very difficult, yeah? Because the moment the citta goes out, then it feels, it's just like the dogs, you let them loose from the leash and then they run and run and run, right? Until they get tired, and then they slowly come back. Yeah?
I noticed the running, but it's hard to put it back. The putting it back is like,
yes, and that's where we actually need our effort. We don't need to push, we don't need to push the Buddha. The effort that we need, is to return, because it is very sticky, it is like, it is very fast glue, and then to pull the mind back, and say, yeah, here, Buddha, or, breath, yeah. But the way, you know, how to interact in the world is really to stay all the time. And there it is much better when you go out, you know, to stay with the breath. Because the Buddha is sometimes, you know, especially, you know, when you have interaction with somebody, then you can't keep the Buddha, but you still can be aware of the breath when you talk to somebody.
People think you're more weird than normal. When you normally
Oh,
are.
yes.
Yeah.
They think you're weird if you push it. If you just go with the flow, then they don't think that you're weird. They think that you're very interesting.
Yes, there's that too. Yes. And they're drawn to.
They are drawn too, yeah, and they want to have conversation with you because they feel something, yeah.
Yes.
And if it is not just necessary, you just smile at them, you know, and then, you know, slowly go away, yeah. But it's not easy, yeah? And especially the Thais are very communicative. They like conversations, yeah? They can talk for hours, Kiki, yeah? Yeah? เข้าใจไหมเขาใช้ภาษาอังกฤษบ้างไหมได้นิดหน่อยค่ะนิดหน่อยพูดตลอดเวลา คุยกัน4 ชั่วโมงก็ไม่มีปัญหานะ Yeah, so that's a key, you know. I mean, learn it, you know. Learn it also here, you know, when you have short conversation, just to stay with your breath. Yeah? And actually, you know, when you have really the awareness, you know when you want to talk, and you know what you want to talk, and then you can check, you know, if it has any purpose or not. But it's so difficult. Yeah.
But hanging out with lay people usually is very difficult. The conversations that come out will just...
Yes.
Otherwise, I mean, I'm already weird, and if I try to stop the conversation, it's like...
Yeah, you can. I mean, with the lay people here, you can. It's very easy. Yeah? You just say, I don't want to talk.
I was labeled arrogant the first time.
No, that's not arrogant. Yes, actually, you know, I'm in the monastery, should be quiet, and there shouldn't be any talking anyway.
That's what I thought.
Yes. Yes, Joanne. You heard that, yeah? Sip your mouth, yeah? It's so difficult, you know, that is so, it comes out now. You see somebody, you know, and you want to talk, yeah? And why? What is coming before that? If 2 people are together and don't talk, there's a feeling of unease. Huh? Isn't it? Yeah? And we want to overcome that. And that's actually, you know, what we should see and then stop it, you know, and look at the feeling of dis-ease. Yeah? Yeah? And then we don't need to talk. And then we can just listen. If the other person talks, we just listen to it, yeah? And then actually, you know, I mean, we listen to what the heart says, yeah? Because what he says and what the heart says is 2 different things. Yeah?
Yes.
It's very rare to meet someone who, what they say with the mouth is what's really happening in each of them. The truth.
That is very
It's rare.
That is very rare, yeah?
Yes.
1 out of 1,000,000 probably.
You are like that.
What?
You are like that.
Yeah, I have nothing else. I can stay quiet for months, yeah? I don't have to say anything. And there was one time, you know, when Lungta caught me. When I was, you know, at the Panna, yeah, I mean, when we drink coffee, yeah, and Ajahn Panya, you know, Ajahn Panya was constantly talking to me, and you had to be, you know, polite, you know, and because he was a senior monk, yeah, and then Lungta came here, I'm your teacher, you know, When you come down, you drink your coffee quietly, and then you go back to your kuti and practice. And I smile, thank you. So I didn't always have to sit down there and listen to endless conversations. Yeah, but this is a really difficult task, yeah, because we don't feel it actually, this dis-ease, when we're, next time try it out and see it, yeah. And then you just want to overcome the feeling of dis-ease, yeah, and that's why you start to talk. And what you talk, it doesn't really matter what you talk, because one thing leads to another, yeah, and you don't feel that feeling of dis-ease anymore, yeah. So just stay, for a while with it, see it happening, yeah, and see, the urge, to say something, and then just return back to the breath and don't say anything.
But like you say, you don't want to be rude.
Yeah. That is.
Asking you questions and you go, well, and you try to be simple about it.
Yeah.
It escalates.
That is what you have to, if that person asks a question, then you can answer very shortly and then just stop. And then not to escalate. That is the difficulty. It's all training. Yeah? And it's not easy. Yeah, Doris, yeah? Yeah. And that is what we do, we meet somebody and we talk, then drink a coffee, and so we kill the time, that is actually, so worthless. After that conversation, you will see it, when you practice, yeah, this conversation still comes up in your meditation, and then you tell yourself, I should have said this, I should have said it's going on, and until it quiets down, until you come back to the stage before the conversation, it takes some time. Sometimes it takes an hour, sometimes it takes 2 hours, sometimes only 15 minutes. It depends on your strength of samadhi. So, be aware of that fact. And look, observing, see it, in the daily reflection in the evening, you see it, what has happened. Then look at these points, especially at these points, yeah? When you meet somebody, how you felt, just recall it, yeah? Yeah?
I find that when I'm out now, there's actually a distance between me and other people. Like there's a distance there that wasn't there before. So that, after being away for 8 months and then coming back, it was really quite different. There was quite a distance. I was there, and answered when they spoke to me, but it was, there wasn't.
But there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the distance. That means you shut yourself off.
No, I don't think I shut myself
Yes.
off.
Yes. From my personal, I don't have any feeling of distance to anybody. So if you feel that, then, look at it.
But there's an aversion there somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at it, maybe maybe it's just, you say, I don't want to, yeah? But I don't want to, it's also a form of greed, yeah?
And it's aversion,
yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
It's a form of aversion, and then you should look at what is behind this aversion. Because that wouldn't be the right way. Yeah? When you met Lungda Mahaboa, he was always there, he was always approachable. Yeah? But if some people, come towards Joan and say, there's a wall. You can feel it then, yeah? And then something is wrong. That means you push things away, yeah? And pushing things away, that is not the way of practice, yeah? Being open, yeah? Actually, the best thing is, to let it go through, yeah? But the moment, we say, no, I don't want it, it is just like an arrow piercing our heart. But, if you open the heart, the arrow just goes through, just like through air, and comes out back, yeah?
Going through
Yeah, that's where you defend.
Yeah.
Yeah? The moment you defend, the moment you close down your heart, that's where it becomes solid, and that's where it sticks. But when the heart is always open, it just goes through. And you don't even know what comes through. Yeah? Yeah, it's a long practice. Yeah?
Maybe what Joel mentioned is, as a distance is a state of observer within any activity you do. So that's not bad thing, but such a distance of observers that she maintained being in a temple for 6 months. 6 months.
Yeah, but there's one thing, there's one rule of engagement. Just talk about yourself and don't talk about other people.
Because I'm talking about myself now.
So you have the same thing?
Sometimes I feel like I have a distance within the activity or conversation or anything else. So
look at it and ask yourself, when you feel that distance, does it feel comfortable?
It's comfortable. Yeah. It's a state of observer, I guess.
Not really. That means we are disconnecting ourselves from the other people.
But sometimes you have to do that.
No. The thing is to open up. We are part of the family. That doesn't mean that you have to engage with them.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
You don't have to engage with them, but you don't push them away.
Okay, I see that.
So look at the feeling. When you feel, there's a distance, look at it. There's a slight discomfort, because you actually prohibit something, and prohibiting something is a negative feeling. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think it is positive because you don't have to interact. I don't have to interact with them. But that is not the purpose. Neither do you have to interact, nor do you have to push them away. Yeah.
That's the.
Yeah. There's always this fine line. Yeah. When you open up. Yeah. What? If you have something to do, and then somebody comes, I told you before, somebody comes and bothers you, you don't want to let go of the things that you're just doing. And so if you're meditating and somebody comes and bothers you, if you open up, the thing is gone within a minute, yeah? But if you close down, no, I don't want. And this I don't want, is actually not a positive feeling. Look at it, yeah? It's subtle. It's not very obvious.
Oh, seems obvious now.
Now it seems obvious. Okay, so, any other questions? David?
Yeah, I have questions about the ego, my ego.
Yeah.
I listened to one of the talks about conceit, and I realized that I have this ego, like dominant ego. I'm aware of this. A lot of the time I see it, and the strategy that I was using to diminish it was sometimes to present myself not as good as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized by listening to this teaching that I was just changing the sign before the ego, but the ego was still there. It just had a different color, a different smell, but it was just the same thing. And I didn't feel comfortable with this. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And I had this discussion with Dhammatalk yesterday, because he mentioned that had been an obstacle for him as well, and I was wondering how to react when people either make a criticism or an apology of something you've done, like they congratulate you for being this and that, or they say this was really bad, and if you what would be an appropriate reaction so that what you hear doesn't feed your ego? one way or the other. How to, so that it doesn't touch your ego, it doesn't stick to, it goes through, as you said.
That is very difficult. And it is the last thing that we worry about. Yeah. If you have problems with the ego, yeah. For me, it was very difficult, to receive, praise. Yeah. Because I know myself, I'm not good, I'm praising something, but something feels elevated, something felt elevated, yeah. This is something that you cannot correct at that moment, yeah. If you feel, you get cocky after that, then just do the thing that you did, said, no, there's some good in me and there's some bad in me, so let it level it out, yeah. That is the thing that you can do at the moment. The ego itself, what is that? What is it? Is it the 8th fetter, manatiti? I think it is. Yes, it's the 8th fetter. The 9th fetter is restlessness, and the 10th fetter is avijja. So we are still working at the first 3 fetters. So don't worry too much about it. You can reduce the ego by looking, what they praise. Then you look at, is that correct what they praise? Or is that correct what they, accuse you of? And then reduce the view that you have about yourself. That is the way how you can reduce the ego a little bit. Yeah. See if the views that you have about yourself are correct. Yeah? And also notice that this person says this about you and another person says just the opposite about you. So what are you now? Yeah? Are you a holy man or are you a bag of shit? Yeah? Because that comes, two people, have two different views. And you notice it in your life, your daily life, yeah? You have a friend, yeah? You see him as, maybe he's a nice guy, and then you have another friend who sees the same person as a bad person. And neither is this a nice guy, nor is it a bad person, but he is as he is, yeah? And this is something that you have to review, yeah? You really have to review all the things when you think, when you think your ego rises, review it, What is it, what I think about myself, yeah? I mean, all what we know, every one of us knows it. When we come and are born as a human being, there's good within us and there's bad within us. So, every human being. Some people have more good, yeah, and less bad, and some people have more bad and less good. Yeah? But each of us, each being, wherever they are, have good and evil in them. And then, ask yourself, what is the view that I have about myself? Yeah? So if they praise you, there is a certain thing, that feeds on this praise because you think, you also think, I'm good like
but
that.
I don't want this because it's.
I know.
This ego is in my way.
I know. I know.
All the time.
Yeah. So then you can say, what I myself did, I said, no, I'm not that good. Yeah.
That's what
And not only did I tell myself I'm not good, I just looked at the bad things that I did. And that diminishes instantly, the praise. And when somebody says something bad about you, yeah, and that also, also feeds the ego, then you look at something, that is good within you. Just to level it out, yeah. So that the ego cannot feed on that. Yeah? Try to level it out. It is not easy, yeah, because we do like to hear praise, yeah. You are a very good meditator, yeah, wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do, but in a way, I don't know. It's probably because I stress it too much.
Yeah.
Something feels artificial.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any lighter inside, and this is the thing is I just want to feel lighter. And when I counter it by putting forward something not very good that I did, or people always say, well, this is wrong modesty and blah blah blah, and then
Yeah, but let the people say what they say.
Yeah, but
That is one thing, let the people say what they say, yeah? And then see how they touch your heart. And when you see how they touch your heart, then go and investigate what kind of view is behind that. Because whenever they can touch you, whenever they touch a reaction of you, yeah? Then there is something, there's a view behind that you self create. It has nothing to do with the other person. Yeah? The other person says something and it touches a view of yourself, and that's where the reaction comes from. So if you remove that, the reactionary pot or the check in the box, like they call in England, isn't it? Join. It's called the check in the box. Somebody, presses and then it comes out. Yeah. So if you look at the check in the box, what is pressed, yeah, and then try, to analyze it, yeah, and slowly remove it, then you will not be so much affected by what other people say. So when people say something good or something bad about you, it touches something within you, yeah, and that is what you have to find, and this is what you have to counteract. Not what the people say, because they will say whatever they want to say, yeah. And sometimes they want to harm you, yeah. And sometimes, they want to praise you so that they get some praise back, yeah. That's their intention, yeah. But whatever affects your heart, that is your responsibility.
Yeah, sure.
And that is where you have to look a little bit deeper, yeah. Where is the check in the box, yeah? What did they just press? Which button did they press? Yeah? You might not see it, while they do it, but in the evening reflection, you might get a better view of it. You see exactly what is happening. But you have to do this daily reflection.
I think I become quite alert to the situation where I realize that I'm, even in my thoughts, sort of sculpting an image of myself that I want to present to the world, and every time I say it, then the bubble will poof. So that's good. It helps a lot. But when this situation, like sometimes people praise you because they just want to make you happy.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that they're doing the exact opposite of the work that I'm trying to do with myself.
No, yes.
And that's why I feel uncomfortable. I don't know how to react.
And that's why I say, the moment this uncomfortable feeling, then look deeper. What is it? What did they touch? Yeah, and what they touched is always a view about yourself. Yeah, and the reaction, because you work, to get less and less and less views, yeah, your reaction to that, shows, you don't want this view, yeah, but it is, it is just a word from other people, yeah, there's nothing to do with me, yeah. If people see me like this, then they see me like this. If people see me like that, then they see me like that. But if I have a problem with how they see me, then this problem is in my heart, not with what they said. And this I can correct. But I have to have some awareness to see what did they touch, yeah? And then you see the view that leads to the reaction, or the view that they touched, and then you try to analyze this view and decrease it and to diminish it slowly. It won't go away in one day or in 1 week or in 1 month or 1 year, yeah. It will take, the deeper our views are, the longer it will take, yeah. Especially for the French and the Germans, yeah. We feel always, very righteous people, yeah. So if somebody, tells you you're wrong, we instantly react, yeah. Okay. Irgendwelche Fragen? Die aus der Schweiz? You still have questions? Mi kamtame? Wie geht's mit der Praxis?
Also zu diesem Thema, das Sie gerade gesprochen haben, da habe ich viel lernen können.
Was, mit dem Ego oder was?
Ja, also wenn ich mich verletzt gefühlt habe von jemandem anderen.
Ja?
Letztes Jahr konnte das mein Sohn einige Male tun.
Aha.
Und das hat mich tief getroffen, aber wir konnten dann zusammen sprechen und ich konnte das anschauen. Ich muss sagen, er hatte recht.
Ja, es kommt nicht darauf an, ob er recht hat oder nicht recht hat. Ne? Es kommt darauf an, wie du darauf reagierst, welches Bild du von dir hast. Ne? Und dieses Bild, das du von dir hast, das musst du, je stärker das ist, umso stärker reagierst du. Und umso mehr fühlst du dich verletzt, wenn das Bild nicht von den anderen auch so gesehen wird. Ne? Und wenn du kein Bild mehr von dir hast, dann bist du frei. Dann können die Leute sagen, was sie wollen. Ja? Und dann siehst du eigentlich auch dahinter, welche Absicht die haben. Ja? So when you're free of use, when you're free of self, you see what the people, intend to do, You see their intention. Do they want to harm you? Do they want to praise you, for what? And why do they want to praise you? Why do they want to harm you? And so on, yeah? But as long as you have views about yourself, I'm like this, I'm like that, you don't see that. You just react automatically. Okay? What? Veronica or what? Yeah. You have any questions?
Not yet. Sorry.
Is it going slowly calmer?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, just use the time. Yeah, I mean it's a good place, to practice. Yeah.
Yes.
So you had a question, not Dhamma related.
Yeah, I have another one, but I didn't want. I thought maybe someone wanted. I didn't want to take all the time. I'm not sure. I think it has to do with right view and right understanding. It's a more intellectual question about the planet that is not going very well. Like I'm talking about ecology, and I feel pretty bad about what's going on. I'm usually quite concerned by this. Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
Yes.
That I just say to myself, well, the planet is dying, humankind is probably dying, and so what? That's impermanence. Let's just let it die.
Yeah.
But then, when I react like this, something feels wrong in my heart. So, I think it has to do with right understanding and right view.
Yes.
For sure, there is impermanence. The planet is changing, and
It has been changing.
Are disappearing.
People, this is something that I really, I really cannot grasp. Every one of us knows the history of this planet. There have been ice ages, there have been hot seasons. We even nowadays, that the desert has been fertile, and it changes every 20,000 or 26,000 years. Then it becomes a desert again, and then it becomes fertile again. If we, as little ants, think that we can change really this planet, then we are really arrogant and conceited. What changes this planet is meteors, is the sun itself, and and also the magma within the core of this planet. We can destroy a lot, with our nuclear bombs, we can make the earth, uninhabitable, maybe for thousands of years. But that, it will recover. Yeah?
Yeah,
But you can do, what I did is, I tried, to be as ecological for me, for my personal own view as possible, separating my trashes, this is plastic, this is aluminium, this is this, and, also trying to buy the food, that comes, from good sources, that depends also on how much money you have, The poor people can't do that. They are dependent, they need food, They cannot do that, and you can't accuse them, yeah. I mean, the poor people, they have to count every penny that they have, yeah. So, of course they will buy the cheaper products, yeah. And what they could do is, separate, the trash. But when you look at, what in Germany, it is, yeah. We started with separating the trash in the 80s, yeah. And then in the 90s we found out, we separated trash into 3 things, and then they brought these 3 containers, to the factory and then they put it all together and burned it off. Yeah? So there's a lot, but do it, yeah, and you feel good.
But traveling here to Thailand,
yeah?
I sat on a plane for
11 hours.
Yeah.
I know.
And I wanted to come again to Thailand. I wanted to do this retreat, and so it was important for me. And at the same time, I didn't feel completely good about it because I said, can I spare this? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I can go meditate somewhere in France, and that is still possible. So where do you put there? Like I said,
what is wholesome? Yeah. If you meditate in France, yeah, there's a certain kind of wholesomeness. If you come here, and receive teaching, that brings you further, then there's no question about it. Yeah,
yeah, but it's...
Yeah, yes, but people, this has been such a topic, for the last 20 years, or since I retired, actually 30 years. It started in 85, 86, yeah. I did what I could, yeah. And that's it, yeah. But I still was flying, because the airplanes go anyway, yeah. It's just like somebody says, if we don't eat meat, there won't be these animals, yeah. Of course there will be these animals that will be slaughtered, and these animals, I don't want even to think, how the West, raises the animals. And especially in America, yeah. Did you see Food Corporation, the movie? You can't. You saw it, Joanne? It was so disgusting, yeah. What they do in the meat, but that is something for you personally to decide, yeah. At least here, in Thailand, we have actually quite good food, yeah. It doesn't come from these food factories, yeah. People cook it themselves, and yeah, the meat, of course, does come, but, does come from local butchers, yeah. So it is much more healthy, as long as it stays this way, yeah. The more people want, the more people, did you see the farm, the pigs farm down there? Yeah. They live, they have enough space, to live, yeah. And the chickens, that run in the village, yeah. So, that's normally, how it is still done, in the rural area of Thailand, yeah. And there's lots of rural area, yeah. I wouldn't think too much, yeah. But I understand, because the media, yeah. The TV and the media are pushing this up and up and up and up, yeah. But what is much more dangerous, what they don't push up, the war, the constant war, yeah. The aggression towards other people, towards other nations, yeah. The constant interaction, the constant bombing, yeah. I don't know how many bombs, the Americans, per day. It's 140 bombs per day, and people die. Don't you think this is much more worthwhile, when people suffer, yeah? And they suffer, yeah? So, get the relation, yes? Do what you can do as a single person, yeah? So you go, you go, if you want to go to have meat, you go to your local butcher, and then, yeah? It's better than to go to big, yeah, meat shop. Yeah?
The United States has never not been at war. They have
yes, 1 year.
They did.
There was 1871. I just heard it yesterday. There was 1 year where the United States was not at war. And when you look at the other countries, I mean, of course France and Germany had a lot of wars. Yeah, but there were quiet times during, we were not constantly at war, This is much more, this affects the world much more, than all these little things, Of course, these little things are important, and what we can do is what we can do, But if there wouldn't be these wars, how much fuel would be saved, How much material would be saved, And how much money could be spent, towards the poor people who sleep on the streets in America? Or in France, or in Canada, or in Germany now, Where does all this wealth go? It just goes up, The richer get richer and the poorer get poorer, It didn't used to be that way, at least in Europe after the Second World War, there was a very broad middle class. But now the middle class, has nearly dissipated. People, they have to look, normally in France or Germany, two people have to work, to make, to be able to live, That didn't used to be. Normally only, in the old times, the husband, went and had to work, and the mother was at home. But now they can't afford it, they can't afford the medical bills, they can't afford this, they can't afford insurance, They can't even afford a leave of absence, Well, France is much better, even than Germany, but Germany was pretty good, until the 90s,
In Canada, healthcare is free.
Yes.
And when you're over 65...
It's not free. You paid when you worked.
You pay when you work, but you can still go to the hospital and receive care.
Yeah.
You can go to the doctor without having to pay. And if you're a senior, your glasses are paid for, anything to do with your teeth is paid for, specialists, everything.
Yeah, but wait until they take that away. They will take it away. They are trying. Just like they try in England. You had the same system as in England, Free health service. In Germany it was okay, it was not completely free. And then they start, okay, now you have, for medicine, before you got medicine on prescription, it was free. Now you have to pay at least, 10 euros, when you, and then next time you have to pay 15 euros towards the medicine. They take it and take it and take it, But, it will end, everything, when we look at all these empires, that, used to be the Chinese Empire, then the Mongolian Empire, then the Persian Empire, then the Greek Empire, then the Indian Empire, and then the Roman Empire, they're all gone. Nothing left of it, And then society also changes, So there's a constant change. That is what is called anicca. There's a constant change, Doesn't mean that it changes to the better, because the people don't change to be better, But it, it resets, sometimes the clock is reset, and then they start, from slow and building up, And then the clock is reset again, and then, it comes like this.
Because Germany used to be the hub of research and health, like especially health. They were known for that. People came from all over the world to go there.
Yes, they used to be very good. That the universities, especially the university, the hospitals associated with the university. But it's just like the German cars used to be very good. Now it is just scrap. Well, I hear it, Well, but it doesn't matter, because now it is not. Before it was for built for solid, for lasting and for quality. Now it is just built for profit. Yeah? And that, everything is built for profit. Look at the houses, after 20 years you have to renovate them. Look at the houses in England, 800 years, they're still as there. Yeah? Or some of the old castles in Germany, they were built to last. Yeah? Nowadays, nobody makes profit of something that lasts forever. Yeah? A washing machine used to last for 20 years. Now it is, after 3 years, it breaks down. Yeah?
We live in a disposable world.
Yes.
We dispose of everything, including people.
Profit. Yes. Yes. People as well.
Sure.
Yeah. And it used to be like that. Yeah. It used to be in the old days of the empires where they had slaves. Yeah. They were just disposable. When one slave died, they just took the next. Yeah. And so on. Yeah? But that is also, it's karmic consequences. What we can do is, we can make ourselves better. That is what the world is doing. We can't even change it. Yeah? It's going towards its end. It's just boiling up. The last boiling up. Before it's going to be reset. Yeah? Yeah.
The sign of Tai Chi with yin and yang energies in it. So
I heard of it, but I don't know really much about it.
That's very nice demonstration of the so-called good and bad forces in the world. So when the yin is on its peak, yang already there. When the dark energy is on the top, yang is already there because it started raising from the quarter to top.
Yeah.
Try to imagine. So.
Yeah, I know this the circle of yin and yang. Yeah, where the black, is very small and then occupies most of it, and the white is pretty big and then slowly diminish. Yeah.
In the most darkest time, there is.
We probably live in a time where the black is very much, and where the white is very little. But it will change because it turns around, yeah? That is a nice thing. Everything changes, yeah?
So we shouldn't give up.
Yeah. What, if whatever happens, yeah, this should not be our concern. What happens to us, yeah? How we react to the situation, how we develop ourselves, that should be our concern, yeah? To worry about all these things that are outside and are most of the time not even within our, not even within our power to change, yeah?
Yeah, but
I understand the concerns,
cause and consequence aspect of it, like it is proven that the carbon emission is responsible for part of what is going on. It's not the whole, like you said, the earth has always been changing and that's impermanence, but human activity has also a tremendous impact on what's going on, and this, we are all involved in this. So
yes.
I thought that there is some karmic dimension also to it. And,
yes, there is a karmic dimension that we experience it, yeah. And there's of course, there's if you're conscious of your surrounding, you don't have to worry about anything. Yeah? What makes this world so terrible at the moment is the greed of the people. They want more. Yeah, and they can't stuff their belly enough. Yeah? Just like the hungry ghosts, they are always depicted with a very small mouth and a big belly. Yeah, and these are at the moment. Lots of them are there. Yeah, and they will go. And there will be peaceful times again, and so on. Yeah. The Lord Buddha talked about these cycles, yeah? There will be cycles, where the Lord Buddha is born, at the time of the Lord Buddha. Even there was war, yeah? Yeah? And I mean, he only prevented, when his Sakyas and the neighboring state, got into conflict, that is the only time when he tried to prevent it and said, please, both sides, He didn't say, this is yours or this you shouldn't touch. No, they were quarreling about a river, that goes just between their lands, And then he said, you take and you take, you take the same thing, Don't fight a war, But normally he didn't, because even the Lord Buddha cannot, He cannot convince the people, we should all live at peace, I mean, it's how difficult it is for you to live at peace with yourself, That's actually, I mean, when you look at my life, I was in the student union, I was, as a student, I was on marching, for progress and so on. Then I was in the worker union, When I started working, I was in the worker union, and then I was in the peace movement that was very big in the 85, 86, When Reagan came up and then had all this SDI and, Star Wars and so on, And then, when I started meditation 89, I went to one of these, conferences, and then I was sitting in the back, and I was watching, the people. You have to do this, I mean, they're always, and with this aggression, I mean, you have to be quiet, you have to be. I said, no, that's not the way, You have to make yourself peaceful before you can ask somebody else to be peaceful. That is a great story of Gandhi, I mean, he only lived, he only preached what he lived, And we should do the same thing. We shouldn't ask other people, to be at peace, when we are constantly boiling up. So let the other people do it, and try, and get, And actually, when you ask your heart, you know what to do. But because we constantly in our mind, yes, we should do that. And we are influenced by our society, the surroundings, our friends, and yes, we should, yes, we should do this, yes, we should do that, yes, we should do that, And this is so important, But the moment you withdraw a little bit, and you say, there's something else going on that is much more important to counteract, And that is the prevailing greed of the people, They can't get enough, And that's why we have all these problems, And it starts with us, I mean, we are also influenced, I mean, all with these new gadgets that can constantly come up, and fool us, We need this new gadget, we need this new soap, Or we need to taste, this kind of food or that kind of food, Now we have to have, in Germany there were only 3 Thai restaurants when I came back, And now, it is full of Thai restaurants because people like, new kind of food, I mean, before it was French food, and then it was Italian food, lots of Italian food, and then came French food, and so on, and so on. And then Greek food, and so on.
Sushi, don't forget sushi.
Oh! Never liked Japanese food.
Oh, I like the vegetarian, but I don't eat fish.
But it doesn't matter. What we need to do is be at the level of our heart, and then we know exactly what to do. The moment we listen, and that is the, and it's not your fault, But you're constantly influenced. What you see and what you hear, constantly forms an opinion in your mind, And that is so difficult, Only if you're here, for 10 years, and then you can slowly, push your chair a little bit further and say, oh, wow, it's completely different, But as long as you're in there, in the society, then it forms you, And you don't see it. I had the experience, when I was about 22 22, 23. I went to study. I was studying, in Germany. Yeah, finishing my diploma. Yeah, and then I had a stipend to go to the United States to study there. Yeah? And just the difference of culture there. When I came back to Germany, I thought, why are they so narrow-minded? They are so narrow-minded. Before that, I didn't see it. Yeah? I couldn't see it. Yeah, I mean, you know it as well. I mean, if you live in another country and then come back to your own country, suddenly you realize, how they live and what kind of views, how narrow-minded their views are about the world, about you, about how you should live and so on. So it is really a good experience, to live for a few years outside of your country and then come back and then see. I couldn't live. I couldn't talk to these people. But what happens after 2 years? Then I start to live in Germany again. After 2 years, you just get evened out. Yeah, that's what is happening. Yeah. You don't notice this slow changing, yeah? In the beginning, it is like a shock, yeah? When you come back. And then say, how can they think like that? How can they act? Something will remain, but, most of it is evened out, yeah? And then sooner or later you just think like a German again. Except when you go the spiritual path. So, okay? Meine Kehle trocken.ไม่ใช่เดือนนี้วันนี้ไม่ได้ถาม